Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Finding Freedom. So, in this video, we're going to talk about, well, not wordplay per se, but I played an interesting game back in the day that was like wordplay. And if you jumble letters up, so on and so forth, they want to see how many letters or words you can make out of it, so on and so forth. But then again, some people read left to right, right to left, up to down, so on and so forth, and then what's left? So, let's go into this, shall we? When people say love, if you were to spell it backwards and leave a letter off, could you figure out what it meant? Right? Because if love didn't matter, how would you evolve or grow? Right? See, grow spelled backwards is a different word, right? And then of course, if you flip the W upside down, it could spell morgue, so on and so forth, right? So where does everybody lie when it comes to certain things? See, some people they'll call Twitch, Switch, Witch, whatever, but everybody needs to scratch an itch. So if you're a wizard, you know how to upset witches because they always need to scratch an itch. And how do you pay for an itch? Well, possibly with some type of currency. See, if you don't value what values you, then you will not understand value and the term, meaning, definition, and everything else. So if we were to jumble those letters up, of everything that I just said, what could you create out of it, right? What would be unique out of it, right? You just don't need to change the name. You need to change, well, everything about it. Kind of, sort of, right? Like a gas station. Everybody puts the same gas in their car, but the gas stations have different names. Now, if you're wondering why, let's start over, right? What's the purpose of refueling at certain gas stations? What's the purpose of price if price doesn't matter? See, because when value exceeds price, price doesn't matter, and that is what Grant Cardone said to a lot of people. But then again, people don't understand what is value, and I guess, you need to have communication to be in sales, you need to have understanding to be in marketing, and you need to know a lot to run a business, so on and so forth. So if something is free, well, what is it? A person once said that if a product is free, you are the product. Well, if I were to tell you that if you came to a country that is established based upon freedom, then what's free in it, right? Is it speech? Because if they don't like what you're saying, they'll censor you or cancel you or be cancer culture or something like that, right? So then there's another amendment, right? Oh, the right to bear arms, right? But then if you see a bear in the woods, do you want to stand up and fight a bear? No, because you'll probably get hit with the paw or the claw. So then you have other things, right? Oh, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. Well, when you get married, right? Is that person yours? Did you purchase it? Did you buy a ring? Does it actually matter? Or is love just a moment in time in which you have the ability to appreciate something that which you value at a time for a certain extent of time, and then when that thing doesn't do rhythm or rhyme or what you say or do what you like, you discard it and throw it away, like chips at a poker table. Or if people like to gamble with certain things, they'll understand this. Here, blow on my dice for me, right? But then again, you have ovaries, they have balls, and everybody likes to throw rocks, right? Now, does paper cover rock? Well, kind of, sort of, right? But then scissors beat paper, and I guess that's why they have doctors for. But if you don't understand what that means, then you won't understand the text or the words or whatever is written, right? Because, well, words have a certain way of speaking depending en qué lengua tú entiendes cuando yo estoy hablando. If I use different language, let's say I just start speaking in a different language, one that never was ever created. That's a combination of things. What would people say? What would people do? Would they stop, think, and try to understand the language, get frustrated, walk away? Or would they try to stay, practice patience to understand what's valuable in this world? So when people say, shut up, I tell them to look up, right? And then look down. Now, what do you value, right? Is it what's on the ground? Is it what's in the air? Or is it what's above the air in the sky? Is it the space around you? What is value? So let's ask another question. What's the puppet? How do I say it? What's the puppet master's name? Let's do that, since that was a Freudian slip. Some people like to play games, right? What's the purpose of having certain vehicles, right? If you drive a vehicle, what's the logo? Did you buy it because it looked nice? Did you discard it because it had some mileage on it, kind of old, so on and so forth, ran through, etc.? Kind of like a working vehicle. If you're an Uber driver, contractor, or you drive a a govy, as they call it, a government vehicle, or let's say a work vehicle or truck. Now, how would you break down a wall? Well, you could throw bricks at it, but that's how it's built, right? Well, do you need a chisel, a hammer, a cannon? What do you got to do to get through a wall? Well, it depends if you're a conqueror and you're trying to take over somebody's territory or realm, as they say, right? Because, well, if this has a wall, would you go inside, be sneaky, try to just slip something into your pocket? Or would you respect it, respect people that do what they like to do, enjoy doing, so on and so forth? And if you give respect, respect is given in return, because respect is apparently earned. But then again, what goes into an urn but ashes? So, if you understand the context of this video, the words being used, because, people don't understand that words also spell sword. I keep saying that over and over again. And then I said, if you look really close, you see the word ore in there. And then people think gold and other precious metals are valuable. So we'll call them Gollum, right? And Gollum kept saying precious to the thing that he wanted to acquire, which was a ring that had a certain inscription that gave people power, so on and so forth. So if the ring meant so much, if the words on the ring did something, or was it just an obsession of something that needed to get scratched because you needed an itch to fix or something, right? Or you needed a fix, as they say. See, when it comes to certain things, they say, well, respect is earned, or is it valued? Well, that depends. Now, that's an entendre for you. So if respect is earned, then what's value? And if value means nothing, then I guess everything has to start all over again until people understand. It's like doctors. They take a Hippocratic oath. But then whom do they help? Because it's not the nurses when they try to tell them something. I know firsthand. There was a nurse that said something to a doctor, and the doctor said, I'm not going to listen to a nurse. Why the hell would I do that? I said, okay. Then there was somebody that was a civilian that was in the hospital that said something in front of a doctor, and the doctor's like, I'm not going to listen to that. They're not even a nurse or a doctor or medically qualified. Why? Because they didn't have a piece of paper? Or because maybe they understood something you didn't. They were trying to tell you something and you just wanted to keep going because you had an itch to scratch, because maybe the person saying which, itch, twitch, stitch is actually the one that has a necessity to get extremely curious. And when you become curious, you're only in it for yourself. See, there's something called a band of brothers. But if you think that only refers to men, then you don't understand women. And if you don't understand women, then you don't understand men. And if you know the definition or the controversy of what is a woman, well then, my friends, you have a lot to learn still. And so because of that, there's always a lesson or a test that has to come out of it. Because if you think this is Earth, then you'll believe it. If you think this is America, then you'll believe it. If I told you you were Spanish, you would believe it. Why? Because it was told over and over again, like advertising and marketing that gets played like reruns. So we could keep playing the game, or people could understand and try to work together to create not a utopia, because what's in it for you is in it for all. So why not understand what's free, right? You don't need to spell that backwards because there's an ER in there and you don't want to go to the emergency room for that. So let's try again. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I know it was a short video. Some of them might be long, but remember, when you play with the words and you tell somebody you love them, like them, need them, want them, whatever, to taunt them, haunt them, whatever, or confront them, remember that everybody has a plan until something happens, and then the plan doesn't work, right? If that occurs, and I'm rephrasing what a lot of people said, so if you understand this from a martial arts context, everybody is trying to do something and learn something. Now, just because you know the kata, or the form, or the movements, do you know how to fight? Be careful, there's a fee in there, right? Now, if you know how to fight, what happens if somebody grabs you and there's multiple opponents? Well, then you would have to wrestle them or do some type of jiu-jitsu, because they're presenting bad juju. I guess that's why there's BJJ. So, very popular sport, done in the UFC nowadays. And then the levels get consecutively higher. See, I tell people that guns and weapons give people a certain amount of stability in their own life, right? Because guns, although they have the power to take things away quickly, it gives people invisible muscles that they do not have in order to accomplish their internal goal, which is to eventually give you what you were looking for, shiny object syndrome, right? But then again, it also gives them power and control because it establishes fear, right? And if you can't listen with your ear, right, or see with it, then you'll be left in the rear with the gear. So, let's continue. What happens if you don't understand why life, certainty, uncertainty, and the variety that everyone needs is, well, kind of a necessity? Like, do you really need that, or do you want that? But then again, need is deem. But then again, there's no A in there. It's two E's, but that's a vowel. At least that's what English says, right? So if you need better understanding, please let me know. I could probably put this in another language for you to understand. And then, of course, there's psychology, philosophy, and all the other meanings of life. And those have Greek letters that are in other languages and used in other languages. So ask yourself, how do you spell knife if the K is silent? Does it still spell knife? Does it spell nymph? Or what does it spell? So, if you purchase something, do you value it? If so, why? And then does it value you in return? This is the purpose of a wedding ring and a band, right? Both get a wedding ring and a band, but if the band wants to play like Joe, then we can have fun and put on a great show. So, till next time, my friends, take care. Have a great one. Happy Sunday wherever you are. Peace.